Well, it is Selection Sunday while we are filming this, and there have been a lot of snubs. A lot of people are pissed, rightfully so, if you're a fan of this school or if you're a player on the team. But St. John's was left out of March Madness, and people are calling this a record setting snub. Just a quick answer. Do you agree or disagree?
Uh, this is so hard because, yes, they got snubbed. However, you have to blame the Power Five conferences that the team that was expected to win the conference championship didn't win it. So there was a lot of bids that were taken away because a team like NC State took off Duke and took off North Carolina.
Couple mid-majors, yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's where like the conversation's a gray area, and there shouldn't be many arguments based on who gets snubbed and who doesn't. It's really hard to break down that resume.
Yeah, I don't think it's the biggest, historical snub. No, I don't. There's 40 or 50 snubs in the past every decade. Like 4 or 5 teams almost miss out every single year. I think every single team could make a legitimate case of, they got snubbed and they deserve to be in. So just historically, no, I do not think it's the biggest one of all time.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that when I was reading it, but the headlines are all over the place that they're calling it a record-setting snub. But now the biggest snubs of March Madness happens every single year, and there are multiple ones outside of St. John. So St. John, Seton Hall, Providence, Pittsburgh, Indiana State, and Oklahoma were all snubbed out of the 2024 March Madness. Out of the ones that I did list, though, which of the ones do you think is the biggest snub and why?
Give me a second because my mic unplugged or my headset died. So Deepaw, answer, and then I should have enough juice.
So, I'm a Pittsburgh homer. I don't necessarily follow Pitt basketball, but Pitt absolutely got snubbed and deserved to be in the tournament. The 4 seed in the ACC should automatically be in the tournament, regardless of what their non-conference schedule is. They had 22 wins overall this year. They beat NC State, who just won the ACC tournament. They took UNC to the brink before in the semifinals of the ACC. They're hitting their stride at the perfect time. You got 2 studs in Blake Hinson and Carlton Carrington. Yeah, the non-conference schedule sucks, but how does Pitt know that Missouri is going to go winless in the SEC? How do they know at the beginning of the year that West Virginia, who's a big rival, is going to be absolutely terrible in the Big 12? Pitt absolutely got snubbed and deserved to be in the tournament.
Okay, sorry. All right. Although I kind of just argued against it, I still think St. John's is probably the biggest snub, simply because they ran through the Big East tournament. They end up losing to UConn by 5, which is a home court advantage. I won't even get into that, but like the fact that they play X amount of games at MSG and then have the tournament there, like I'm not saying it should be changed because it's not. I really think a conference championship in Madison Square Garden is the best.
It's legit.
It might be, hot take, it might be the best non-championship setting in sports. I would have to
spicy.
Yeah, I'd probably have to explain that. But they had some bad losses. They lost to Boston College. They lost to Michigan, who just is down bad. And they weren't that great in the Big East. But they did win their last 6 of last 7 games. They failed to beat teams like UConn or Marquette when it mattered most, or even Creighton for that matter. The 1-point loss to Creighton back in January is probably going to be the difference of why they didn't get in, which sucks. But I really think at 20-13, 11-9 in the Big East, and you losing the Big East championship by 5 points to UConn, in my opinion, you got to go. And these guys declined the NIT invite.
Good for Rick Pitino, though.
Man. Yeah, typical Pitino, man.
I watched it many, many years ago. Watched St. John's. They were like a middling 500 team, beat number 1 UConn in the Garden. I was courtside. It was one of the coolest experiences I've been at, like a live event. It was great.
Now, committee chair Charles McSeeland says that talking to other committee members, this was the most difficult selection process that they've ever been a part of for March Madness. The bid thieves stole the show, they said, though, crushing Oklahoma, Seton Hall, Pitt, and others. But
Yep.
one thing that is interesting to note that John Fanta, he reports for NCAA basketball a lot. He said for the first time in 45-year history of the Big East Conference, a team went over 5 games, over 500 in conference play, and did not make the NCAA tournament. This team was Seton Hall.
Yeah, only 3 teams in the Big East.
Yeah,
It's wild.
I hate to, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but like Seton Hall wasn't that good. I like St. John's resume over Seton Hall.